question, bro.
Next.
Mike, why are you in such a bad mood?
What do you care?
What else do you want to know?
Next question.
Your next question.
Next question.
Next question.
Next question.
I'm not going to answer any questions from you.
Answer my question! The question, jerk!
No matter how many times we play it, I continue to enjoy that open. This is where I will ask Dominique Foxworth a series of hard-hitting, provocative questions, and whether he's ready or not, he will answer them. And here we go. All right, Dominique, right now, who is the biggest threat to Kansas City in the AFC?
Yeah, I'm hesitant, but I think I got to go with the Bills. I know they were the other representative in the AFC Championship game. And if Josh Allen can put together a season similar to what he did last year and not revert back to the Josh Allen of old, then obviously they're competitive. I'm kind of scared off of the Ravens because every time the Ravens play the Chiefs, they seem to really struggle. But there's a team in Cleveland that I think after watching the Super Bowl, that pass rush that they're going to have there in Cleveland, like that should be really scary for the Chiefs combined with an aggressive running attack. But I think I'm just going to be a little bit scared on this one and go with the number 2 team in the AFC last year and say that's the biggest threat, the Bills.
Yeah, but to be clear, for those who may have missed it, Myles Garrett and now Jadeveon Clowney rushing the passer for Cleveland could be a very dangerous combination. All right, next question. What does Carson Wentz need to do to get the Colts to the Super Bowl?
Chill out. Just chill out. That's it. You just got to chill out. Because last year, Carson Wentz, and the year before that, Carson Wentz trying to do everything. You don't need to do very much. And maybe in Philadelphia, he needed to do a lot because there were a lot of injuries and they had some issues. But they're not going to have the same concerns in Indianapolis that he had in Philadelphia. So don't try to be the MVP level quarterback that we've seen you be in the past. Relax. We saw what Phillip Rivers was able to do in that playoff game against the Bills that we're showing highlights from. That Colts team, they were in control of that game at different points. Josh Allen made some mind-blowing plays, but we need Carson Wentz to understand that you don't have to match that. Just relax, let that defense play well, make plays when you need to, and let that offensive line protect you. And hopefully with Jonathan Taylor, that running attack, they won't need a whole lot out of Carson Wentz.
Yeah, hero ball was the word they used to describe him too often in Philly. Less of that. All right, one more for you, Nick. Give me a team that's going to surprise everybody and make the playoffs this year.
I think it could be the Chargers. And obviously in the Chiefs divisions, it's going to be very hard. But Justin Herbert's return is going to be, hopefully he can take a step forward. They have talent outside on the edge. They might need some offensive line help. But this defense is what I'm looking forward to. And specifically, Derwin James. Having hopefully another full season out of Derwin James will really help this defense return to the level that we know it can with Bosa coming off of the edge. So I think out there in the AFC West, they could be another team that if things break right, they get an offensive lineman hopefully in this draft and they improve that pass protection and run blocking. The Los Angeles Chargers could be a team that's going to sneak into playoffs that we're not talking a lot about right now.
Oh, I love it. They pick at 13. People are projecting maybe Rashawn Slater, the offensive tackle, to go there. I like that. How many games did they lose last year by one crazy play at the very end? I love it. Okay, we'll leave that there for the moment. Let's make or break. Coming up next, let's look at some players who have big seasons in front of them and decide if they're going to make or break their teams this year. And Tim, I'm starting with you. Big Ben, make or break in Pittsburgh?
I'm going to go with break here. I'm not as down on Big Ben as Mike Tannenbaum, but I think we had a segment earlier talking about what are they going to do at left tackle, or are they going to get a running back? There's things they need to address, and I just don't think the roster is as good as it's been. And so for Ben, a year older, coming off the year he had a year ago, I don't think this is a great year for Ben, so I'm going break.
24 is where they pick in the first round. Maybe Najee Harris, the running back from Alabama, could help there. Graziano, Jalen Hurts, make or break?
I'll say make, because I think Hurts is going to play well. I think he's got some good stuff inside of him, and I think it's going to come out now that he's the unquestioned starter. I also think the expectations in Philadelphia are probably not going to be as high for this particular year, and he'll be able to do some growing while he has success along the way. So I think Hurts comes out of this year looking strong.
And finally, Dominique, and I'm not sure I even bothered to ask this question, Dak Prescott, make or break?
Oh, yeah, this must have been a mistake by the producers to tee me up for this obvious answer. He's obviously going to make this team season because he's Dak Prescott. He's gotten better every year that he's been in the league. He's added more things to his game. And I think that having this last season ended by injuries, gave him more time to get even better. So Dak Prescott is going to obviously make the Cowboys season this year.
Now, as a member of his family, I think there's a conflict of interest in you answering that way, but that's fine. Meanwhile, our friends at Caesar Sportsbook have released their odds for NFL MVP. And unsurprisingly, at the top, you see names like Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. And not coincidentally, they're basically all quarterbacks that you see on your list there. And so let me bring it out here as we never a bad time to be contemplating these things. And Tim, I will start with you. Who is your favorite to win MVP of the league next year?
It's Patrick Mahomes. Like, if I'm going to sit here and say, all right, like, which quarterback is most likely to throw 50 touchdowns, I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes. So, to me, I get it. Sometimes there's player fatigue. There have been player fatigue with with Tom Brady or Peyton Manning throughout his career. The reality is that he's fun to watch. I think people are still in love with him. The expectations are super high, but I think he can meet the expectations in the offense he plays in with the talent that's surrounding him.
All right, who's next up here? Graziano, who have you got for MVP?
I'm with Tim. I think it's got to be Mahomes, especially from this far out, pretty much every year. He's got the ability to do things no one else can do. And statistically, I think he's always going to be a threat to break records, especially he's got an extra game to do them now. And if he takes advantage of that and sets records for yards and touchdowns, breaks Peyton Manning's records in those areas, I think he would be I think he's got to be considered the favorite.
Okay, and as I said recently, he's the favorite for the next 15 years. They should just rename the award the Patrick Mahomes Award and give it to someone else. So, Dominique, who should that someone else be?
That someone else should be Rain Dakota Prescott down in Dallas. So, all right, listen to me. Okay, chill out over there, Home Alone. This is my argument for Dak Prescott. It's not because this MVP is a narrative award. And we saw how valuable Dak Prescott was to that team last year when he was balling before his injury. Not that the team was all that great, but they were obviously missing him quite a bit. He's going to come back this year. If they can find a way to get into the playoffs and win that division, I think there's a good narrative and story around how valuable Dak is to that team. I think, obviously, Patrick Mahomes is pretty awesome. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns, and the Chiefs might be the best team, but that's no fun to talk about. Let's get Rain a trophy.
You know what you've become? You've become a Cowboy fan. Just like you're exactly like them. Oh, yeah, sure. They would have won. They would have been winless with Dak Prescott on the field last year if Atlanta knew how to cover an onside kick.
It's just 4 games, and don't you insult me with that, Uncle Michael. I am no Cowboys fan. Don't you do that to me.
We'll explain that one a little bit later. Meanwhile, let me run the bases through some of the action for the majors yesterday. Oh, the Yankees stink. Not even Garrett Cole could come to their aid yesterday. New York losing again, 4-2 to the Rays. That's a series sweep for Tampa. The Yankees are 5-10 for the season. It's their worst 15-game start since 1997. What is going on? Elsewhere, Cleveland's Shane Bieber keeps up his record strikeout run. Struck out 13 in a win over the Reds 6-3. He's the first pitcher ever to start a season with 4 straight starts with at least 10 strikeouts since the mound was moved back to its current distance, which was in 1893. Meanwhile, round 1 is in the books, and the National League West matchup between the Padres and Dodgers did not disappoint. Eric Hosmer, the tying and go-ahead RBIs in the 7th and 8th innings. The Padres avoid the sweep. They beat LA by a score of 5-2. And if you're looking for baseball, we'll have it for you tomorrow night. Mets and Cubs play the first of their 3-game series at Wrigley Field. Taijuan Walker getting the start for the Mets. Jake Arrieta will go for the Cubs. That's tomorrow on ESPN. Still coming.